The national couple.
Taposh, editor, round table.
Nice.
5 more people are waiting in the waiting
I have
room.
admitted everybody.
Okay. Will President, should we wait a little more?
Yes. Yeah, please wait. I'm just getting the Facebook on.
Hi.
Just hold
Good
on.
evening, everybody.
Good evening.
Good
Good evening.
Hi, Rajesh Sunda.
Hi, Bhagesh.
Hi.
तेरे को खास सुनने आए हम.
Bhagesh, I cannot recognize you with your specs on.
एक गाना भी गा देना साथ. इसके बाद. लूट लाया कि नहीं लाया?
Good evening. This is Satish Bakshi here.
Hello, Satish. We still remember the excellent
Rajesh.
bar arrangements. in
Bhagesh, have you brought your flute also?
Thank you so much.
Hi, Vikram. Gopu here.
Hi. Who's Galaxy? Please change your name. We can't make out.
Gopu.
No. Galaxy is Gopu.
Yeah.
Okay. A2 must be somebody from Calcutta. Anirban 1 or Anirban 2.
Bhagwan from 5. Bhagwan from table 5.
Yeah, I can see Anirban now. A2. We have 33 people inside already.
This is Yogesh from US, New Jersey.
Hey, Yogesh.
Hey, Yogesh Babu, कैसे?
Look, you must have had a busy day today. Norway AGM was there. Then we saw your message, tangent.
Hi, look. How are you?
Hi, I'm fine. Thank you. And you?
Good.
Hello, how
How
are
was
you?
the meetings in the morning?
Any has a Facebook streaming started?
No, not yet. I'll tell you.
अभी वालों को मालूम नहीं होगा अभी आपकी voice.
Good evening to you.
Srini, sir. Throw
Hello.
some light on your face, Srini.
I can see Vikar. Vikar, how are you? I can see Ajit sir.
Yeah.
Hi, Bobby, Satish here.
All of you. Yogesh Patel.
Yes.
From where?
New Jersey.
New Jersey. Oh my God, all the way. Great. You really put us on the international map.
Thank you.
Paul Lalit Khanna, if he joins in, then we would have 5 get 1 free.
We have 2 international people here. Luke is there, Yogesh is there.
Jagan is there.
Even Jagan is there. Jagan is also there.
Jagan is also joined from UK. Yes.
Last met him.
Good evening, Bakshi.
Hi, Jagan.
Hi. How are you? Hello. How are you?
I can see Pankaj Vats, Rambo. How are you, Rambo?
Hi, sir. How are you? Thank you.
Great. Gopu, thank you, Gopu. It's because of you that I sent out that circular for the cyclone. All the speakers are ready. We are now. Streaming started. Where's Srini?
Now, Srini will tell you when it is ready to go. You can start off. Yeah. Just so.
Okay, till that time, you
Yeah.
can pull each other's legs.
Hi. Hello, Boogie.
Hi. Who said boogie now? I have to look around.
Yeah, Pompey.
Pompey.
Hi, Manu Vinod, क्या हाल है?
सब चंगा जी.
बढ़िया.
Hi,
Tapas.
Hi guys, hi.
Where's Hitesh?
Good evening, Ajit. Good evening.
Good evening.
This is in the second screen.
Hello, Jayesh. How are you? David, Dada, কেমন আছো?
একদম প্রণাম দাদা ভাই, সব ভালো আছে.
এখানে বাংলাতে গালাগালি আমি দিতে পারবো না কেন
এইখানে দিলে যাচ্ছে না.
না হায়দ্রাবাদ
একটা ভালো আছে.
Rajiv, how was the rain? You had a lot of heavy rain, I believe, in Bombay after the cyclone. A lot of tangent members will join. Their AGM is going on.
Oh, that's
We'll
nice.
start as soon as Srini tells us.
एजीएम है
The international
एजीएम है
AGM.
तुम्हारा आज पता है चाहिए वो बोल रहे हैं
Hi, Rajiv. No, that's the international tangent AGM.
International AGM going on. Who's Galaxy J6? Can you rename yourself A7 and J6?
This Samir here.
Who? J6?
Yep.
Samir who?
Agarwal.
Okay, rename yourself.
Yeah, okay.
And A7 2018.
BK, you can meanwhile ask everybody to mute themselves so that once Srini is there, you can start off straight away. Otherwise, there will be a lot of disturbance.
I've told Anand that accepting the speakers, he'll mute everyone.
No, they can unmute when they're speaking. That's not an issue.
That is also possible.
Yeah.
So everybody, please mute yourselves.
Anand, you should mute them.
Or
Yeah,
Anand-
I will be
Anand-
putting all once we go live.
No, you better do it now, Anand. I think.
I think we can all start now.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay,
it's already 10 past 7.
Punching in
Anand,
the
you
codes.
mute
Okay,
everyone excepting the speakers.
Right. Gentlemen, requesting everyone to keep your videos on if possible. Now we
Yeah.
are moving to mute all option. So everybody will be muted and only the speakers will be unmuted and they will start speaking.
Okay. Keep me on also and the president also on.
Absolutely. The president and the secretary can unmute themselves. On to you, secretary, sir.
No, we'll have to just wait for Srini to give the go ahead. Yeah.
Right, okay. It's streaming live now on Facebook, so we can go ahead. Right, Srini? Srini, you are muted. If you just show a thumbs up, we'll go ahead.
Yeah, please go ahead.
Thanks,
Thank
Srini.
you, Srini. President, with your permission, should we start?
Yes, go ahead. Please.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to this special discussion on life during COVID-19 and beyond. It is your very own program and it is an initiative, in-house initiative of the 41 Clubs of India. I'm your moderator for this evening, your National Secretary B.K. Singhdeo. But before we start, first let us get in our President, Shiva Ramakrishna Chalasani Babji. He will formally welcome everybody, the speakers, as well as our International President, Luke. Over to our President.
Thank you, BK. Thank you for that introduction. Good evening, gentlemen. This is your president. Yes, we have been, in the last couple of months, we have been doing a lot of activity vis-a-vis the war against COVID. But then down the line, we switched on to a lot of fellowship events. But now, since all the lockdowns have been lifted and it is more like a lookout for yourself, now I think we need inspiration from our as well speakers, and we're lucky to have a panel of good speakers. And the best part is all of them are 41ers and renowned successful businessmen and professionals in their own line of activity. So what better way than to have this evening where we are all looking forward to start getting back to the new normal. So thank you, Vagesh, thank you, Jawahar, and thank you, Rajesh Vaika, for accepting to be the panel of speakers. And thank you, gentlemen, for joining us. Without much ado, I would hand it over back to BK.
Thank you, President. You know, we could have, as a moderator, I could have gone on and on talking about why we chose this topic. But I think it's important that we listen to our speakers. And I think it is sufficient to say that as the COVID cases increased in the country, our country came under total lockdown. Life came to a near standstill. Industries closed or were restricted. Money with the people started dwindling. The economy took a hit. People got retrenched. The daily wage earners had no money and no food to eat. The market started falling. The government had to step in with some stimulus packages. And whatever we are doing now, like the president said, we are having in this program, meetings, Zoom meetings, houses, etc. And nowadays we have started calling them as the new normal. We are starting to getting used to a new system. So in order to understand the situation with living with COVID-19 and beyond, we have organized this program, which is totally in-house, and our speakers are all from the 41 fraternity. We are very lucky to have with us our 41 International President, Luc Rigord. I've requested him to speak on the situation in Belgium and Europe with relation to our topic, that is living with COVID-19 and beyond. Then we have Vagish Dixit, who will be speaking from the industry's point of view. And we have Jawahar Vadlamani, who will speak from finance and related topics. And I think at this juncture, insurance holds a very important place. And we have Rajiv Swaika, who will be speaking from the insurance point of view. However, as the speakers start, I will first introduce them one by one. And just before they speak. So we start with our International President, Luc.
All right, do you hear me, people?
1 minute.
Yes.
Luc, we are very grateful that you consented to join us at such a short notice. In fact, I got your consent at 4 in the morning. Yeah, that is Indian Standard Time. Today has been a busy day for you with the AGM of Norway. You also sent your greetings to Tangent India and a recorded message. Friends, Luc is from the teaching profession and he teaches English. He hails from Belgium. He loves flying and has a passion for photography. And his passion for Roundtable can be seen from his theme for the year, Let's Make Tablers. So let's all sit back and listen to Luc. Over to you, Luc.
Thank you very much. Yes, you mentioned it. My project this year and for the next is to make tablers. Making tablers is also what 41 is. We are ex-tablers and we have a responsibility in helping Roundtable to develop and to get bigger and bigger. Without tablers, we are nothing. We are just a bunch of people with no past. What is uniting us, gentlemen, is the past we had in Roundtable, but also the ideas we have about life, about the world, the broad ideas that we have and that we developed in Roundtable through understanding others and adapting to society. Now, gentlemen, you know the situation is quite extraordinary. It's quite extraordinary for everybody. We are developing new means of communications. We are developing new ways of working, of teaching, and we are adapting to the conditions that the world is imposing on us. 41 is no different, except that we are older than the general population, so maybe more at risk. So we have more to lose. Who knows? But being here is quite an honor. Thank you very much for this invitation. I'm quite curious and eager to discover what these discussions will teach to each other. I am a teacher, indeed. I teach adult students. I teach them intensive English classes, and I teach them also English for business and foreign trade. The way I've been working is completely different from the way it was a few months ago. I had to adapt to online teaching for the last 3 months now. Belgium is only fresh out of lockdown. We are just in phase 3. That means that we are progressively returning to normal life, but there are exceptions. We still cannot meet more than 10 people in the same week. I don't know how we can verify this. But anyway, so there is a progress. Before last week we could only meet 4 people, and just 3 weeks ago, absolutely nobody, except the members of our own family and household. Things are changing. We have had a lot of international meetings online. I've personally never traveled so fast from one place to another. I will, in a few hours, I will be joining the Dutch 40 runners, as you mentioned. I was just an hour ago, I was joining the Norwegian AGM, and I had my own informal AGM with 41 International. And this only in a few clicks. It's quite extraordinary what we can do. Let's imagine what the situation would have been had it happened just 20 years ago, 25 years ago. How would have we been organizing our life? Now we have instruments, we have technology that helps us to get even closer than we were before. I've never had so many meetings than in the last 2 weeks. That would have been impossible and would have cost so much money if I had been forced to attend these AGM. Now our life is changing. I'm really eager to hear what you are going to say, and we have distinguished speakers. I'm especially happy to know one of them, Vagish. It's been a long time, my friend, about 17 years, I think. It's really a pleasure to see you again. Thank you very much, Babji and Bikram, for the invitation, the kind invitation. I am available to attend meetings, local and regional meetings, more than ever. I am also getting used to this new technology, this new techniques. All right, I think I've spoken enough. I wish you a great time. I wish I can see you again very soon, or in the couple of months. For the moment, let's remember we need to keep safe. The danger is not over. Although we are leaving lockdown, other regions in the world are still in the middle of a crisis. And we know very well that this pandemic can come back through our borders or through our behaviors or absence of good behaviors. All right, thank you very much for giving me the word. I wish you a very pleasant meeting.
Thank you very much, President 41 International Luke. Since you will be around, at the end we have a question and answer session. Maybe you could answer a few questions if they're directed at you. Friends, let's have our next speaker. I think whenever one speaks about Vagish Dixit, they say that he needs no introduction. But let me say a few words about him. Vagish is a member of 41 Club number 91, Sikandrabad. He's a Chief Engagement Officer of Alpha Worldwide and also partner and managing director of Alpla Group in India. Alpla is one of the largest and most respected companies in the world in the field of plastic bottles and caps. Over the past 14 years, his company has grown to be one of the larger and plastic companies in India, with an impressive growth and a plethora of technological and innovative introductions to the Indian market, some of which are global firsts. Apart from his passion for business, Vagish is also very active in social service. And you will remember that he was the president of Roundtable India way back in 1998, and also headed the World Council of Service Clubs as General Secretary for 3 years. He's also a member of Young Presidents Organization, a global leadership forum of business leaders, currently chairman of YPO Gold. Today, Vagish is going to talk to us about the topic living with COVID-19 and beyond from the industry point of view. Over to you, Vagish.
Thank you very much, Vikram Bhai, and also a big thanks to Babji as well as my old buddy Luke. The sensation and feeling I have here is on a lighter note, as if I've died and gone back to heaven, and I find all my buddies from my past life waiting and saying, "Come to me, my friend, we are together again." So with this background, and I know we have, so I'm going to do unbelievable stuff that I never did when I was in tabling. I'm going to put a timer on so that I can actually finish on time. So how do you repurpose to fight and win, and of course, to live with COVID? A little bit of a background. While I speak for industry, I do understand there are industry verticals like airlines or hotels or leisure, of which we all understand that the trajectory of recovery will be very long, but it will come back. Some people say 6 months, some say 12. And there would be, of course, weaker companies that will go out of business. But that's also true for many other businesses. I will, just to keep a perspective, speak from what I'm doing and what my company is doing in a live format, just to make it relevant and not like a sermon, but more of an experience share, if that's okay with you. So when COVID hit the world in early Jan, Alpla is also, we are in 47 countries with 177 plants, including 8 in China. I partner in India, but I have a global responsibility. So very early in mid-Jan or third week of Jan, we started to get the flavor that something is not right. And by 7th of Feb, we had to make new SOPs and new processes in place, how to keep our people safe in China. And very soon we realized this is what we will need in 177 plants all over the world. And this gave us a head start. So much before we started to hear social distancing, thermometer checks and stuff, we were already starting to do that from 7th of Feb. And by 20th Feb, we had all these processes already in. We were already planned to work from home from 18th of March, a few days before the lockdown. And I will just take you through what is the whole methodology that we have adopted. And by the way, in the last couple of months of COVID, and especially in the first 2 or 3 weeks, I have spoken on at least 7 or 8 webinars for CII, which is for Look, the Confederation of Indian Industry. I have addressed many other forums and shared our SOPs with over 200 companies, right from Philippines to Morocco, to Africa, even to LATAM, just to help them, you know, by sharing our processes. So when I say repurpose to fight and win, we decided, and this collection comes later, I mean, this is what we did instinctively. The first was to secure ourselves, safety of our people, our factories, our workplace. That was the first and non-negotiable and still continues. As an example, now in Hyderabad, which is our headquarter, the government allows 100% people to come to work, but we are still keeping it at 25%. And we are even keeping a tab of, you know, we have 3 generations living in the same house. So we are saying, okay, if you have an older parent or a young child at home, and if you can manage to work the whole month, you don't have to show up. Also in our plants, it's the same story. So if you're over 55, then certainly you can stay at home. And if you need to come, then of course you follow a lot of processes. And the second part was to strike back. You know, when you are hit hard, you can sit and wallow in pain, or repurpose all your energies and operational ingenuity. In India, it's called Jugaad, which means frugal innovation, and try to react to the markets which are in total chaos. The key enabler is resilience to fight. And for us, it was to win in India and overseas. And then when the strike back, which is a 2-month period, during this period, you need to strategize on, hey, what's the new normal in this VUCA environment of volatility, uncertainty, complexity, ambiguity, multiplied by 100x with life-threatening situation all around? What is your 3 to 12-month plan? In this whole process, I do want to highlight that people are and will always remain the key. This is not a boilerplate story. It is the lifeline of success. A highly motivated team is clearly a non-negotiable during any crisis. So we could, and I must say that because what we did was relevant to us and should not be taken as a lesson for other businesses, we actually rewarded people who came to work because we were under essential commodities partly. Hardly 15-20% of our stuff went to manufacture some soap bottles or whatever. But whoever came, we actually financially rewarded them. And whoever didn't, we consoled them, but we did not start to fire people left, right, and center. In my business, in our line of business, Reliance as an example, and then again, I don't have any, this is not a moral judgment, but a company which is recording 3,000 crore profit per quarter decided to cut salaries. For my company, which took a lot of hurt, we have decided we will sacrifice profit, but not the salaries, at least if we can. And so far, we are good. So in terms of secure, I just want to show you some slides of what we did. First of all, we initiated a program out of China, and all the 10 regions included India, Middle East, Africa, Turkey, North America, Central and South America, and in Europe, we have East Europe, West Europe, and Russia. All the 10 regions, we went into risk analysis, core group meetings, blah, 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 as you can see. And very early on 20th Feb, no visitors policy was already adopted. Guidelines by 10th Feb, we had social distancing programs were done. We were already into sanitization. We couldn't know how to disinfect. So we started to ask people to iron just a hot iron to run on paper before you enter any document from trucks which are coming in or going out. And now, of course, we have UV disinfection. We stopped biometric checks. We removed them and changed them to retinal scanners. And very important was the release of goods handling, inbound and outbound. So, you know, latex gloves and how you have to leave the documents for 4 hours and change the latex gloves every 4 hours and stuff. The important thing was not the intellectual part of the SOP. The important thing was that it was done. And here I want to show you, it's not about a Mahindra & Mahindra or a large company like Infosys who can do social distancing with a lot of investment. Here on the left, you see a very simple example. What we learned from China, that the worst problem is in the cafeteria. That's the only place where the masks come off and people eat. So they should not be in front of each other, because that's the only place where you can have throw of possible you know, materials from the mouth. So we just used old cardboard boxes and taped it with duct tape on the tables, and you can see it works beautifully, costs almost nothing. And how do you ensure, I mean, this is a little bit gross, but in a toilet, we have taped toilets, you know, so that people don't stand next to each other. We started vehicle sanitizing, even private vehicles that were coming into the company, screening and personal hygiene, gowning. I will not go into details. These are things that it was easier for us because we are food certified, so we already knew a little bit. But of course, we had to enhance it significantly. What was the result? By the time we started, China was already 2.5 months, 2,000 employees, thankfully, and touch wood, and this is all pure luck, not a single COVID case until now. India, touch wood, I would say this can happen tomorrow, and we should not feel that we lost it, because it is a race against a very bad situation. But thankfully, we are also clean in Spain, Italy, Germany, UK. We've had a few cases in Amsterdam, but these were on private holidays and not in the company, so we didn't have to shut any plants down. One plant we had to shut in Colombia for 3 days because a few guys were found COVID positive inside the facility. This I'm talking in 41ers, so it's all this is considered to be not public conversation. But this helped us to keep our people safe. On Strike Back, how do you repurpose? I want you to know that till 1st of March, Alpla, which makes 70 billion bottles and caps in the world, produced 0 sanitizers. And India, which produces 1 billion plus bottles, made 0 sanitizers. 1st of April, we were already making about 10 million. In 3 weeks, we repurposed our processes, which is not possible even in normal times. And the global business was almost at 70, 80 million. And today we are doing nearly 20, 25 million of these per month in India. We are exporting this to Thailand. We are exporting to Geneva and Rotterdam and whatever. These are some of the brands which were not present till 8 weeks back. For this, we were working from 9 in the morning till midnight. Guys really burnt midnight fuel, and most importantly, their intellectual energies about what do we do. I will just take 2 minutes. I know I'm 10 minutes up. Hand sanitizers. We worked with brands like Godrej, Bajaj, Cipla, Kevin Care, Reckitt Benckiser to do amazing stuff. They were not our clients for this product. We worked with them even to get them filling lines. The last part, create future ready plans for the next 12 months. Or it starts from 3 to 12 months. Here, I will tell you on a broad note, deep dive on core strengths and how to redeploy under the new situation. So in our case, we were producing liquid hand soap. We increased capacity by 4x. We actually invested during this bad period and collaborate with others. So I remember for Reckitt Benckiser, we got them a filler in Hyderabad because they were running out of soap capacity. This got us nothing, but the contract filler was good for my client. And finally they said, hey, can we buy some bottles? So 1 + 1 is 11. And finally, look within and outside, we are not alone. There are so many companies wanting to collaborate and work. I mean, I have now at least 2 US companies who want to repurpose some of the product lines, and we are working on really very large business discussions. At the end, this is the time to remember that we are tablers, we are 41ers. This is the time to show your soul. If you can't do it now, you will be ashamed, or I would be ashamed for the rest of our lives. So while we were bleeding millions of dollars every day across the world, and also in India, of course, probably $1 million or 2 in a month, this was the time we decided that we will not shy away from spending maybe $150,000 or $200,000 in a month. This really hurt us, but we felt this was the best money we have ever spent, and we continue to work in this direction in helping whoever we could. So in nutshell, I would say that please keep your people safe, strike back, and strategize for the mid and long term, always keeping in centrality the people that work with you and for you and along with you. Thank you very much.
Yes.
Thank you very much, Vagesh. We will have a question and answer session, but after all the speakers have finished. And thank you very much for the measures that you have taken in your company. I'm sure others will also gain from it and maybe adopt. And thank you for reminding everybody of their roundtable background.
BK, 1 second. Gentlemen, I would like to, at this point in time, when Vagesh was talking about the great social responsibility they have exhibited, I would also like all of you, I mean, I'm sure Vagesh would not like me to do this on public platform, but he has been one of the among the large 3 donors to Roundtable India Foundation. He has so far contributed 45 lakh rupees to Roundtable India Foundation. And this is something that I don't know if he's embarrassed about it, but it is our responsibility to recognize his contribution, because this money is actually going out to do a lot of good to the society. Thank you, Vagesh. I would, yes, BK, go ahead.
Thank you, President, and great gesture by Vagesh. Our next speaker is Jawahar Wadlamani. He doesn't need much introduction. Jawahar is from 41 Club number 51 of Hyderabad. He's currently the financial and legal advisor to this present 41 India National Board, a practicing chartered accountant for over 35 years, and is well known in India for his presentations on various subjects. He has specialized in systems and security audits, and is the first chartered accountant in India to hold qualifications in systems audit. He holds a degree in law also. He's a trainer and sought after motivational speaker of repute on leadership, and conducts seminars on topics which enhance the skill and competence of business leaders. He has been very actively involved in the Indian Red Cross Society, Roundtable India, 41 India, and Rotary International. In fact, he is a past district governor of Rotary International and a former chairman of the Asia Pacific Regional Council, a World Council of Service Clubs. Jawahar is going to talk to us on keeping the topic in view on the finances and other related topics, that is our responsibility towards society, etc. Over to you, Jawahar.
Thank you, Boogie. Mr. President, 41 India, and Mr. President, 41 International. Ladies and gentlemen, it's really an honor for me to be here as a speaker today and share my thoughts on this topic. You must have heard on this topic from a lot of people, and I did a lot of survey and realized that what just happened was a tsunami. And it had serious consequences. And there are very, very few people on the face of the earth who have not been touched by this tsunami. And what happened was we found there were holes in our income and our balance sheets, holes in our production, money, as well as in credit. In macroeconomics, the wealth creation cycle has 4 driving forces. The first one is productivity. Productivity means the ingenuity of the person to innovate and produce. Then there is a short-term debt cycle. And this cycle ranges from approximately 8 to 10 years. And this cycle actually shows us how fast a company can grow. And then there is a long-term debt cycle. And this debt cycle could be anything between 50 to 75 years. And during this time, the monetary system itself can change. The last time the monetary system changed was immediately after the World War III in 1945, when a new monetary system came into play. And I have a feeling that with this COVID, across the world, we are going to have a new monetary system. And then, of course, the most important one is the politics. By politics, I mean how we behave with each other, how we deal with each other, how we deal with each other internally, and how we deal with each other across borders. There are going to be chances of wars because of this, but I sincerely hope that good sense will prevail. This is a black swan event. And when we call it a black swan event, it means it's a rare event. Nobody expected it. This event had the highest impact and at the shortest of the time, and it had retrospective predictability. How many of you would remember Barack Obama talking about such a scenario? How many of you remember Bill Gates talking about such a scenario? We didn't take them so seriously at that time. But then it did happen. And when the Great Depression happened earlier, it taught us that economy was not self-correcting. It cannot correct by itself. And the lack of spending was the key issue. Usually what happens in depression, and I'm sure you must have seen it in your own families, in your own businesses, amongst your own friends, that people stop spending. And this is what is against the basic tenets of a depression or a recession. It is during these times that you need to spend money. And that is what the macroeconomics says. I will get into that a bit later. Systemic shocks were never seen before. I think in our lifetime, we didn't see it, but our parents would have seen it earlier. It is estimated that the money and credit would fall between 25 to 45%. It's a massive, massive fall. I mean, you could never imagine what a fall of money and credit of this range can do to an economy, to the GDP of a country, and to the businesses as a whole. The losses out of this COVID are estimated to be something in the range of $20 trillion. We have seen businesses failing. You will not be surprised if I tell you in the coming few weeks and the coming few months, many more businesses will fail. And I'm going to tell you which are the businesses which are going to be in danger. This COVID situation is going to give rise to a lot of giant restructuring. And this restructuring will bring in beautiful new courses of actions. We saw hospitals reacting and helping people, but mind you, a lot of hospitals are going to go broke. You need to go and study entity by entity to really understand what is going to be the situation of an organization. This recession might actually be bigger than the 2008 recession that we had. Which are the entities that are going to be really affected? Entities with low leverage will be hit slightly, not much. But entities with a high leverage will go broke because they are going to have to service their debts. And this is going to be a dangerous situation. And in this case, the winners will be those that are stable and not leveraged. Innovators are going to make a killing. People who can take this situation and become innovators, change their strategies, just like Vagish just said, how they innovated overnight and changed their strategies, their production lines to get into the new lines of businesses. These are the guys who are going to really, really be big winners. And of course, those without any balance sheets are definitely going to be there even after the next 10, 12 or 18 months. The solution for this is the government is needed to stimulate this economy through its fiscal policy and monetary policy. Fiscal policy means how the government, spreads their income and how it spends their money. And the monetary policy depends upon how much money is thrown into the economy and how the interest rates are managed. You would have seen, all of you have seen many countries giving doles, giving benefits at this time. US president has given a benefit of about $2 billion and they have brought their interest rates to zero. Some countries can't do it. Like in India, we can't get the interest rate to zero because it'll hit the senior citizens very badly. It will help the businesses, but the other part of the economy will get suffered. But it did give a lot of doles, but not to the extent that I would have loved to do. There are many companies like in Germany, they gave something like a helicopter money, which was again the need of the hour. What is helicopter money? The helicopter money is the money that the government actually releases by way of checks to the businesses and people. Now, what did the Prime Minister of India do? Because our country is not as rich, because our country doesn't have that kind of cash, what he did was he requested the businessmen not to stop the salaries of the employees. The businessmen thought that they were being penalized or they were being, put to hardship. But gentlemen, please let me tell you, what you were actually doing was helping the government tide this crisis. The mission at this juncture is to maintain a very strong economy and create job opportunities by promoting conditions that enable prosperity. Now, if you just recall, way back when we had the Great Depression, what did the US do? It immediately started constructing highways. At that particular point of time, highways were not required as much. But what it did then, it created employment opportunities across the country. And that gave money to the people to spend. And that gave them, that made people spend the money. And that is exactly what stimulated the economy. When in crisis, in such a crisis, fiscal discipline might not be the right solution. And unfortunately, friends, this morning I read in the Financial Times that the government of India has imposed financial discipline on certain sectors, which I think is going to slow down the recovery. How deep is this effect? As of now, it's going to be as deep as 2008. And how quickly can we recover? It will depend upon how low the GDP falls. But as a thumb rule, for every 10% drop of GDP, it takes around 4 years to recover. So we'll have to wait and see what is this fall in GDP. The small caps will be the hardest hit since they don't have the same buffer to withstand the shock as the large companies. There has been a massive value destruction in the last 2 months. There has been uncertainty. There has been global recession, threat to the global stability. I'm going a little fast because I'm seeing that my time is running out. And how is the recession handled? I already explained to you through fiscal policies and through monetary policies. And how do we live with COVID and beyond? Here are some of my ideas. Create liquidity by selling assets that are not performing. In your businesses, if you have properties that are not performing, try to create liquidity. Liquidity is the only thing that will help you through this crisis. Try to restructure your loans, replace high rate loan with the lower rate loans. You will need to be proactive. You will need to go talk to various financial institutions and reduce the interest of your loans. Try not to let others utilize your working capital. This doesn't mean that you should stop giving credit, but try to be a hard negotiator and see that you retain your working capital as much as possible. Reduce leverage. In fact, reduced leverage has always been better and safer. It may not be as profitable as some of the economists would say, but it is usually very, very safe. And in the long run, it gives a lot of dividends. Try to cut costs on purchases. Get as much discounts as possible. It will bring down your production cost. At least it will help you to tide over your fixed costs. Cut costs of manpower if possible. Get things done on contract basis. By this, I don't mean that you should remove your employees. Time to create a niche product. If you are having any products, try to see that you place yourself in the market where people will want your product over and above your competitors. Invest in technology and take the benefit of reducing costs by increasing the speed of your production and take the benefit of economies of scale. Please remember that this is the situation when you need to perform, need to measure your performance constantly and objectively. And when I mean constantly, I mean to say that each of you are managing businesses, and therefore this needs to be on a daily basis. Each of us has done so much of service to outsiders during these last 2.5 months. If you really want to revive fast, do the service to your employees, and they will be ever grateful to you, they'll be loyal to you, and it will show on your bottom line. Protect yourself from the bottom side. Think about what can go wrong and then take corrective action immediately. Looks simple, but it is a bit difficult. Protect precious time. Today, in the last 2.5 months, when people couldn't do anything, they were depending on apps like WhatsApp and others. Spent a lot of time on it and got used to it. Please get out of it. You need to spend your time more preciously now, more than ever. It wouldn't make a difference if you don't see your WhatsApp for more than 10 or 15 minutes a day. But please remember, as long as it is for your business, it is fine. But for anything else, this is not the time. Get good insurance. I'm not going to talk about it because my friend Swain is going to talk about it. Go digital. It will help you a lot. Go into digital marketing. Get a lot of benefits out of digital that you can do, as much benefit as you can. don't compromise on your payment terms. You might feel that, you know, if you compromise on your payment terms, you might get a larger deal. Don't do that. It will hurt you ultimately. Normally, our tendency is to watch for the small costs. And then we say, we can't manage the big costs because they are there. But remember, this is the time to watch your big costs. The small costs are not going to help you much at this time. The big costs are the one that are going to help you tide over this difficulty very fast and help you recover. As Jack Ma said, for people in business, 2020 is just an year for staying alive. Don't even talk about your dreams and plans. Just make sure you stay alive. Then you would have made profit already. Thank you, friends. This is what I had to share. And if you have any questions, I'd love to take it and answer. Thank you.
Thank you, Jawahar. We will be taking questions after all the speakers have finished. And that's a great insight that you gave from the point of view of finance, and especially the tips that you have mentioned at the end, how to deal with COVID. I think that presentation could be circulated to everyone, and everybody will get a lot of benefit from it. Friends, our last speaker, before we take the question and answers, is none other than Rajiv Swaika. He's a member of 41 Club number 35, Kolkata, and is the founder and director of Ramp Insurance Brokers Private Limited. He's a fellow of the Insurance Institute of India and has over 20 years of experience of health, life, and general insurance businesses. He was also Tata AIG Life Insurance Company's first MDRT and has received many awards, including Chairman's Award from Max India for outstanding contribution. With this background and keeping insurance in mind and our topic, Rajiv will speak. Over to you, Rajiv.
Thank you, Secretary, and good evening to the National President 41 Club and the International President 41 Club. We have a high benchmark has already been set by the previous two speakers. I will try to live up to it and take it forward as to what we can do immediately and forward. Friends, COVID has already highlighted what we have always known, but chosen to gloss over. That's the frailty of human life. Insurance, as you know, is all about uncertainty and how to protect its financial consequences. When the going is good, example, when we are young, we are all immortal. So COVID-19 has sharply focused our mortality and frailty. Add to that the various cyclones and other natural disasters that have happened continuously this year. Not to forget even the locust attack in India. So what about insurance? First, let me tell you what insurance will not do. It will not prevent you from death. It will not make you immortal. It will not stop you from getting sick or injured. It will not prevent cyclones, floods, earthquakes, etc. It will also not stop or prevent crime. So again, what about insurance? Insurance, therefore, will provide you with financial safety. It will provide you an option to save your business, to provide for business continuity, to pay for your medical treatments, to security for your family should something happen to you, and cyber security in these days of technology, where more and more business is going to get done, not physically, but on the internet or in the technology sphere. Friends, let me share some facts with you. Strange facts, but yes. You know, more people in India die out of lightning than due to terrorism every year. In fact, this is true worldwide, but more so in India. Secondly, health, or rather the lack of it, is the greatest wealth destructor. Thirdly, for business continuity, most companies have not planned for business continuity or business interruption due to any circumstances. Pandemic was the last thing they had in mind, but there are many other circumstances which result in business interruptions. To give you a perspective of the Indian scenario, currently there have been little over 220,000 cases of COVID in India, out of which about 8,500 people have died, out of which about 2,000 people have died. The total claims for health insurance is only 8,500 pan-India, which for about 135 crore rupees, which is really nothing. Less than 4% of the COVID cases have gone for insurance claims. And even there, they have been getting a pittance of it, because as you can see from the figure of 135 crores, primarily because the insurances were not updated and did not cover all the costs, particularly the PPE costs, the masks, the personal safety gears that doctors and hospitals, etc. use, which form the bulk of the cost in the treatment of COVID. Similarly, there have been only 100 claims pan-India filed for deaths due to COVID. 100 only, so you can imagine what under penetration or what lack of preparedness we had for in this country, how families are going to get affected with the people who are suffering from COVID and may lose their lives. Even in these 100 people, most of them were insured for very, very small sums. So insurance now has gone ahead to cover a lot of things, and you have to start discussing with your insurance advisor or with your consultant on what are the various available things. It has moved beyond traditional life insurance, traditional health insurance, and car insurances to include home insurances, cyber security, professional indemnity, business continuity, trade credit, and including things like kidnap, ransom, and extortion. Friends, as we get into a digitized economy, businesses will be working more on the internet, and cyber crimes have already started rising, if I may use the word pandemically. People need to cover their cyber risks. Cyber crimes have to be covered. Similarly, business continuity plannings, when your business stops due to pandemics or some other perils, how do you maintain your structure? How do you meet your standing costs? How do you not stop paying your salaries, wages, rents, interests? How do you meet these costs? So you need to have an insurance to cover your business continuity. Similarly, the previous speaker just mentioned that a lot of companies are going to go bust due to various reasons. But how do you protect yourself from your customer going bust? How do you save your business from your customer going bust? So trade credit is going to be another very big area that you have to look at. Businesses have to look at trade credit insurance so that you can quickly ramp up your business and pass on the risk of your customer going bust to the insurance company. So these are a few thoughts on insurance. One can go on and on insurance, But basically, the modern age insurances have to be inculcated. When we talk of health insurance, I'm sure there will be a lot of questions on health insurance coming ahead in the question and answer session. Let me address one common question that is coming in, is that am I going to get paid for consumables like PPEs, masks, sanitizers, etc.? No, gentlemen, currently most insurance policies do not pay for that. One company recently has introduced it, and more companies are likely to follow suit. But at the moment, only one or two companies, even, and that also in one or two of their products, pay for these consumables. So it is imperative that each one of us reviews our insurance plans, reviews our business continuity plans, and looks at how to manage your finances in the case of COVID or any other natural disaster. With this, I rest my talk and thank you very much.
Thank you, Rajiv.
BK, just a minute. Sorry to interrupt you. Guys, gentlemen, I would like to, at this point in time, acknowledge the presence of our International Secretary, Gopal Chopra. Also, welcome Aziz Cherkai from Morocco. So, more international visitors, more international participants. And yeah, go ahead. Thank you.
Thank you, Babji. Thank you, Rajiv, for all that talk about insurance. In these troubled times, I think insurance is very important. We have to see that we are adequately insured, especially people who have, for life insurance, there's no harm in taking a few extra insurances for life during these troubled times. And health and COVID is a must. So people, please review your policies. And I think Mr. Swaika can be there for any help that you need. Now we'll have the question and answer session, and Anand Khara will be conducting it. I will request Anand to first mute everybody, and whoever wants to ask a question, please unmute yourself and also mention to whom you want to ask, so that they will be ready to ask. All the speakers, President and International President and myself can be kept on unmute.
Good evening once again, gentlemen. We'll move to mute all option. Whoever wants to ask a question, please unmute yourself and start speaking. If you have any problems, please send a message on the chat and I will act accordingly. Thank you.
Okay. Can I just go ahead with a short question?
Gentlemen, Prashant. Gentlemen, whenever you want to ask a question, please announce your name and then ask the question directed to which gentleman. Okay?
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, I am Bhagwan from table 5 in Delhi. My question is general. The package announced by the government of India, 20,000 lakh crores. What is the opinion on that package? Because many people say that it is not going to flow the money. It is only securitizing the money. So can you please, any of these speakers can throw some light on this? Because a lot of public, lot of people have doubts on this. Please.
A question for Jawahar, I think.
Anybody can answer, because this is the biggest question. Government has announced 20 lakh crore package, and we say that nothing has flowed. What is this package, please?
It's like this. The 20 lakh crore includes about 8 lakh crores through the monetary policy and 12 lakh crores through the fiscal policy. But unfortunately, what happened was, out of this entire amount of 20 lakh crores, very small amount was by way of direct cash benefit. The rest of it was by way of benefiting businesses indirectly. For example, I'll give you one example, and one was saying that there is going to be a reduction on the TDS amount of 0.25%. So what in effect meant was that if you are going to pay your bills to a contractor, instead of paying, say, .75%, what does this translate into? It translates into 0.25% of the money being available in the hands of the other person. But that's a very small amount.
But
and,
he has to pay. He has to pay that amount as a tax. Because
no, but he has got that 1 month's time. See,
yeah,
you understand that leverage. We are here talking the entire monetary and fiscal policy is about leveraging the time. But as far as fiscal policy is concerned, please understand, it is only the fiscal policy that can help the unemployed persons.
Correct.
Monetary policy cannot do anything.
Cannot. Exactly.
Okay. So now the other, the finance minister came and on 5 different days gave 5 different packages to 5 different sectors. But I personally believe that this is not going to really help the Indian economy as much as I would have liked it to happen.
This is the largest opinion of in the industry and everywhere, that this package has got no much advantage to the immediate requirement of flowing the cash in the hands of the people to spend.
Exactly. No, but please understand, we also, during my presentation, I also made a statement. Instead of the government giving money into the hands of the people, what our Prime Minister did was he touched our heart and he made all the entrepreneurs ensure that the salaries were not cut but paid. I think India would have been the only country where even during the crisis, the employees were paid. In all
but Supreme Court has already said that this is not a correct directive, and
but then it has already happened, isn't it, sir?
Yeah, but the court has, said
2 months. No, but for 2 months the salaries were paid, which itself has stopped the the pull down in the economy.
Let's move on to another question.
Hello. Can I just go in for a small one?
Yeah.
Small question.
Yes, go ahead.
Okay, this is Prashant Kalba, club number 80. Thanks to Kumar Ruparelia and Sunil Vijayanagar, we have now regenerated into hopefully a very healthy and active club. The question that I'm asking is that the company that we own is called Creative Awards and Rewards. We have been manufacturing trophies and awards for the last 30 years. For you name it, anybody in Mumbai, film industry or corporate setup, we were doing it. Over the last 2 months, we have diversified into disinfectants, manufacturing it in-house of very high quality. I have tried to maintain as much SOPs as possible in a city of Mumbai, which boasts of the largest number of ever rising COVID positive cases every day. Now, certain workers were taken, certain workers were not taken for a reason like, now a guy like Mohammed, he comes from a place called Dharavi. Dharavi is the place, a slum, biggest Asian slum with the highest density per square foot of population. I go there regularly. I used to go there regularly, and I've taken the yaps there. I took the yaps to Dharavi on a rainy day.
Prashant, can you Prashant, can I interrupt, please? Please ask the question. Please ask the question.
How do you emotionally connect to a person who has been working with you and say, no, you're from Dharavi, you're not welcome in the factory? Anybody can take on the answer.
Who do you want that should answer?
Gopal Chopra.
Who?
Gopal Chopra.
I think I can take this question, Babji.
Yeah, please go ahead, Vagesh. Prashant, I think you should stick to asking questions of the panel members. They are here on a special assignment. Yeah, Vagesh, please go ahead.
Yeah, on a very quick note, the emotion of connectivity is well understandable with employees. We also have 35 years of connection. But if some employee is from a red zone, or a deep zone where you have this COVID crisis impacting you, you cannot have that person infect others. If your company permits you to pay him fully or partly, please continue to do. I have to say that in reference to the last question, most of the employers have got zero benefit or nearly no benefit out of the government policy. I have already connected with hundreds of MSMEs. I also am on the panel and on the board of CII. Nobody has till yesterday got anything. And I may be wrong, but this could be you and me. So the motion we have to honor, but we also need to honor the life and risks associated with getting in. We are also getting people from Bombay, from difficult places to Silvassa. They are under quarantine for 14 days. After that, they would be allowed. Thank you.
Thank you, Vagesh. Ashwini Khemka wants to ask a question, I think. Please unmute yourself and say who you want to ask this question to.
My question to Jawar.
Yeah.
Hi, Jawar.
Hi.
Nice to see you after a long time.
Yeah, same here.
My question is that the credit cards are issued to the common man and the rate of interest is 49%. And at this time where the moratorium has been announced, the credit card interest rate remains the same, where a common man can take use credit card on a nominal interest, which is all over the world. This can get easy credit to the common man. So, and at the same time, to motivate the economy, you want people to spend money. So if the money is not in the hand of the common man, how will they spend? On a 49% of the borrowed money, who is going to spend? So if the RBI makes the norm by reducing the rate of interest on credit card, I am sure that the spending will increase on credit cards.
Ashwini, I see RBI has already reduced the rate of interest, and I think that in the coming couple of weeks, the interest rate might be cut down further. Now,
Today only I have received message that the credit card moratorium you can pay not pay on installment, but the interest rate will be 49% per annum.
You see, what has happened is all this is available for people who have been very regular in their payments. For people who have not been regular in their payments as on the 28th of February, this moratorium will not apply. So if it is only for those people who have been very regular. But and let me tell you something. As I told you in my presentation, you need to leverage, you need to cut down the interest rate. But here, in case of credit card, we are talking about people who don't have income but want to, use the credit. Now, if it's a question of survival, the question of interest doesn't come in. It's like, for example, you need food for your family. You're not going to look at anything else. You're going to first think of how you're going to provide food for your family. And that is how there are cases where people are in such a scenario. For them, it really doesn't matter. They will think about the interest at a later date. Now, how the interest is going to be reduced, how the financial institutions are going to come, I mean, I'm not the one to answer that question, but let me tell you, it is better in these circumstances for whoever it is possible not to utilize that moratorium, because the moratorium is only going to increase your leverage.
As you rightly said, the senior citizen huge population will get affected if the interest rates are reduced, because today the interest on the 1-year deposit is 6%. And in your country, you have huge population of the senior citizens, retired people who live on the interest income.
Very
so
true.
they will be very much greatly affected by this.
Yeah. Yes.
Hello. Hello. Question is high rate of interest on credit card. That's what my question is. You see, my question is not to pay. You see, my question is high rate of interest, which is 45% per annum, which is on a revolving basis, it comes around 65%.
Exactly.
Very high.
Manoj Kapoor is next.
Manoj Kapoor.
Hi all. If I'm audible, I just want to say to the question that Prashant has, there's a very medical way of tackling the employees. This is the time they need you actually So Prashant, what you can do is, since you've already started manufacturing the sanitizers and you're also having the visors and the PPE kits, you can actually utilize them from anybody whom you think is coming from a very affected area. And let me tell you, Mumbai, Dharavi is not the only area. There are so many areas in Mumbai, and all of them actually, when they walk in, irrespective of the places they're coming, have to be given a protocol in which the moment they walk in, they have to be sanitized. So you know, the emotional aspect can easily be translated if we do a protocol kind of a thing. See, the same way, you know, I can just give you a corollary that the doctors who are currently working, you know, emotionally they are a wreck. I mean, they can get anything. But if a thing has to be done, there are certain protocols that can be managed, and with those protocols, we can run the show. So kindly install those protocols, because this is going to go on for the next 2 years. And to certain other things, I mean, yeah, the technical Jawahar is the best person to answer. My little bit reading and knowledge says, if I'm allowed to, just in one statement, all you guys are business people. The professionals may still last, but all you guys are business people. You all you guys, BKG. All you guys are business people. I would suggest read the model that was followed by Lijjat Papad or the Nirma model in Gujarat. So you see, you start the cooperatives or the Amul system. You know, the cooperative system of labor sharing is going to bring out not only employment, but it is going to get you out of you know, the high salaries that you have to pay when you're making the employee a partner in whatever you are earning, or you're breaking even. He's a partner in that. So Amul is a very big kind of indication to how to run businesses for the current 1 year or 2 year. Secondly is the Nirma model, run as the Nirma powder, you know, and the third, of course, is the Lijjat Papad cottage industry system, wherein you identify places where people are outsourced the initial products, the mid products, or the end products that you guys want to make, and then they're consolidated in the warehouses, and the marketing part is only that you're taking care of. I think in this point of time, India has to look at you know, generating employment as well as you know, getting work and you know, coming up in a big way. So thank you.
Thank you, Manoj. Anand, Reni Koipuram from Trivandrum was waiting for a long time to ask a question.
Yes, Reni, please go ahead. Yes, please. Go ahead.
Hello, Jawahar. This is Reni Koipuram from Club 100 Trivandrum.
For Jawahar.
You have made a You have made a statement in your presentation. When in crisis, financial discipline might not be the right solution. Can you elaborate on that and explain why you said that?
This is in relation to the government. When I made this statement, it definitely not relative to the companies who have to have a great amount of financial discipline during this crisis. That statement was meant for the government. And immediately after that statement, I also told you that this morning I read in the Financial Express that the government wanted to have, you know, cut down on certain budgets for certain departments as a matter of financial discipline. It was linked to that and not for the businesses.
Thank you, Jawahar.
Welcome.
Rajiv Mehra Senior, go ahead, please.
Question 4.
Yeah, this question is to Jawahar.
Yeah.
Jawahar, see, one of the most important things is when you sit down and look at the scenario right now. See, it's the micro industries, the SMEs that play a major role in, you know, really generating and, you know, getting the engine of the economy really moving. Okay. Unfortunately, the micro industries and the SMEs and you know, maybe a few MSMEs also, you know, the industry being shut for the last over 2.5 months now, for them to sit down and restart industries, you know, so there is a huge amount of capital input that is required, you know, in form of working capital or in form of, you know, other investments, you know, maintenance of machinery, equipment, you know, which has been lying closed for the last over. So there's a huge amount of cost that is really required to for those industries to really sit down and get their act going. So in a current scenario that we are in, how do we, what is the solution available to these small micro and SMEs to get source of income? Because what has been declared by the finance minister, that additional working capital without any collateral is actually adding to the cost, because it is coming at an interest cost that is there. So that is question number one that I have. And question number two, I want to take the point from what Mr. Bhagwan just said right now, is that in these times of lowering interest rates that are there, see, there is a large section of senior citizens whose only source of income depends on revenue earned on their savings over the years which they have made. Now, that source of income is definitely coming down. Inflation is going up. The rate of, the cost of living is going up. So what is the solution available to the senior citizens in form of investment of their savings, which can be safe, secured, and give them an adequate amount of return? So that's question number two. There are two questions there.
Okay, I'll take the first question. The first question is with respect to the requirement of liquidity for SMEs and MSMEs, right?
Yeah.
Now, the only solution for them is to borrow at this time if they don't have money, because you will be leveraging, but without money, you're dead anyway. So what do? So you don't have a choice on that. As I said, if you have assets which are not performing, sell them, get the liquidity and pump in. But if you don't have that and you're only going to be dependent on these loans, what else do you do? And that's the reason I said many of these small SMEs and MSMEs are going to shut down because they don't have the buffer that the larger companies have. The second question was regarding the lowering of the interest rate. It happens everywhere. When we talk about lowering of interest rate, we talk about the lowering of interest rates on loan. But as a consequence, the interest rate on deposits also come down. But they don't come down as fast as the rate of interest on loans come down. So there is a buffer. But the fact is, for example, my father used to earn around 8% on his fixed deposits. Today he's earning 6%. And looks like it's going to come down further.
Much lower.
Much lower. I mean, we have to live with it. And the only thing is, keep your fingers crossed, because they don't have any additional sources of money. And they can't go out. So it's for us to see that, they don't move out, take care of their health, and you just survive. We can't do anything about it.
I think the government should introduce a scheme by which, at least for the senior citizen, those who are not pensioners, at least on their 50% saving, they should have a better interest rate. Like that was a senior citizen scheme in the post office or in the bank today. But okay, that we have a contract there. I have invested and I will get that interest because the bank has signed a contract with me. But after the expiry, they will give me 6%. So I think
that's a very good suggestion. I would request you to put this on Mann Ki Baat with the Prime Minister. Maybe he will impress the Reserve Bank to put it in.
I have done it. Great. I have done it. I have suggested him that for senior citizens who have no pension scheme, and they are more than 75, he should give them better return on some investment.
Gentlemen, if I may intervene, sorry, we can't continue to have a discussion on this. We have a panel who would, we have requested for 1 hour of time. We have overrun the time. So let us, if possible, stick to questions addressed to the panelists and also not convert it into a discussion. On this note, I would also like to ask Vagish one question I wanted to ask. Vagish, when you changed the product profile, was it necessitated by the demand or for the reason that the other products did not have a market? I'm just trying to ask a clarifying question.
Of course, the demand, you see, on 20th, 22nd, 23rd March, when the hammer came down, of course, the market disappeared. Until end of April, we were down to doing business of 20% for an essential commodity product because our customers were not running, Procter's, Unilever, Reckitt's, all they were closed or semi-closed. But it became very obvious that when they open, between the choice of a hand sanitizer or a liquid soap and buying a bottle of Horlicks, I don't think you need to be a genius to know which is the first. And so during the lockdown, instead of licking our wounds and crying horse, we decided to call a lot of people, understand what to do. We took government permissions in Telangana and in Delhi and in Baddi to get our supply partners open up. We used all our energy to get small tool rooms, MSMEs or SSIs, open up for specific projects where in 2, 3, 4 weeks, we could retool our equipment, which could produce this. In real time, in normal days, it would have taken months. But when you are hurt, when you are crazy, you can do amazing stuff. And that's what we did. And we had no idea whether we'll be able to sell this or whether there's any demand, because in chaos, nobody is signing any agreements. So we have gone ahead and spent a fair amount of energy, time, and money, and at the same risks like Jawahar mentioned. So when you are hurt, you try to either save or you try to move forward. I think it has to be a combination. And in hindsight, if we had not done this, we would be only licking our wounds. Today, we are so busy, it's not funny.
Thank you. Thank you, Jeff. Thank you.
Srini, go ahead with your...
Yeah, Srini, Anand has Srini has a question.
Yeah, thank you, Anand. Thank you. My question is for Mr. Vagish Dikshit. You actually touched upon very well about the frugal innovation or the Indian Jugaad. But this is also a time where everybody is talking about retraining and reskilling of manpower or of their teams. Now, however, the large part of Indian industry is actually extremely small sector. They don't even fall under MSME. Both the owner as well as their teams require great amount of hand-holding in retraining and reskilling. How do you see this happen in a country during this chaotic time where everybody is trying to rediscover themselves just to stay, keep their head above water?
So it's a great question. I head the skill development panel for Telangana for CII, and I'm also on the Southern Council for the same. So it's a subject of great connect for me, and personally it touches me. On a broader construct, so I have been speaking to, whether it's our MSME minister or whether it is our finance minister, all these 5, 6 top ministers, I have had webinars where I have had where I have had the opportunity to speak as the principal speaker or panelist. My belief is that until and unless this contract worker system, migrant worker system of archaic nature is not solved, we have zero chance of Atmanirbharta. We have zero chance of anything, honestly speaking. Because when we have demonetization, guess who gets hurt? It's the contract workers. They are left without money, no food, mar rahe hain. When this happened, lockdown, if I want to pay contract workers, I don't have a connect because I have connect through 4 different contractors. Where is the connect? I mean, we still have some, but a lot of companies don't have those connects. We have pushed with Nitin Gadkari ji, or whether it is with also Piyush Goyal ji and also various other stakeholders in the government, and everyone has said, yes, this is a great idea. I have personally proposed through CII and myself that go back to your proposition of having fixed term contracts. This was a government of BJP's idea. I said for 1 year contract, minimum wage, 9 months contract, pay a 5% premium, 6 months, 10%, 3 months, 15. If you want 1 month, pay 20% over SSI. The relationship needs to be there. Today, there is no trust in the relationship. Every manufacturing company, including government companies, have 30% employees which are on their rolls. 70% Gadha Majuri guys are on contract, whose life depends on 8 hours of confirmed business. That is inhumane. In today's term, if you and I are told you walk in at 9 o'clock, you have a job guarantee till 5 in the evening, what the hell are we talking in today's time? This is disgusting and a slap on the face of our country that we still live in these times. If this bunyadi change doesn't happen, what skilling are we talking about when 70% of our people, we cannot give guarantee of employment for beyond 8 hours? So we can skill when we have a connect. And towards that connect, the country has to change. Otherwise, you and I will be having the same debate after 5 years or 10 years. And only when people have pain. Pain will not be so much for you and me who are having this nice conversation. Pain is for those millions of people who are on the road without food and dying. So yes, retraining is important, but the bunyad has to change. The floor has to change. And the answer is not by throwing away the rule book. Like in UP, they said, okay, suspended, all laws related to worker management suspended. What is this suspension? Please repurpose it. I'm sorry for sounding very caustic and upset, because it is hurtful and a big national shame for all of us if so many people are on the road and dying. So if we want to retrain, first of all, we have to be able to give them at least 1 month of contract, 3 months of contract, 1 year of contract. That will also give SSIs and SMEs the chance to be flexible. And if you're flexible, then a guy who's making on lathe some steel product for capital goods will repurpose it for medical appliance. I'm sorry, but I think we have very low solution until and unless the bunyad is rebuilt.
Okay.
Thank you.
President, should we take in more questions, or I think we call it a day? We've extended by, I think, 40 minutes now. You have to unmute yourself. Okay,
I'm sorry.
Bijal, yeah.
Yeah, I'm sorry to have come in very late. I had a tangent international AGM going on. It just got concluded, but I heard the last part of what Vagesh spoke about the contract labor. But don't you think then the labor laws also need to change in case we need to absorb these kind of people into our work stream? Because if you're going to have the inspectors, factory inspectors coming and taking that inspector Raj, which is going on, something needs to be done about it. The only reason we have a contractor and not taking the laborers directly with us is because of this entire scenario. So what do you say about that?
So as I mentioned, this needs to be into fixed term contracts that need to be under the labor management regulations. These have actually come out as draft regulations under the current government 2 years back. It is only out of probably concern that this may have an impact on the geopolity of the country that it has not been put forward. But if the contracts are valid and cannot be challenged at the end of 1 year, the contract is after 1 year you leave, then of course the legal paraphernalia around that needs to reflect this possibility. Only then this will. So you are right. We need these bunyadi change. Only then the revolution will begin.
Thank
you, Vagesh. BK.
Exactly. If I have to pay PF and I have to pay.
Yeah, Bijal, complete.
Go ahead.
Yeah, if I have to pay PF and I have to pay ESIC and I have to give everything which the labor laws are, putting it down, it is impossible for a small MSME or a small time company to fulfill all those obligations.
So I have a very simple prognosis on this. I understand your pain point, but PF and ESI, even through contract labor acts, you have to pay, and over and above that, you have to pay the minimum contract fees of 7.5 or 10%. So for a moment, my own personal belief is if any business cannot survive by paying minimum wages, by paying ESI, by paying PF, that business has no place in the earth. No reason to exist. And this is no reference to anyone, but if that model will only survive on that arbitrage of the poorest of the poor, of somebody who's getting 350 rupees per day, if that 50 rupees is the difference between profit and loss, this business really has no place on Mother Earth, honestly. And it's a very tough comment. I appreciate and I fold my hands for this, but we need to liberate the businesses. SSIs cannot be fighting, as you rightly said, with labor raj, with government, with unions. We need a simple level playing field where we take care of our people, but take care without getting hurt in the process. When we grow, we take care of them. If we are going down, we should be able to unwind the people who are on fixed contract. This is, government has also agreed with it, but I hope they come out with these regulations. It will at least help to some extent.
Thank you, Vagish. Just to answer BK, yes, BK, the Zoom time is unlimited, so that's not the challenge. But having said that, we have invited the speakers, so I think we should respect the time that we mentioned to them. But having said that, yes, all our speakers are fortunately 41ers, so I'm sure they will be more than willing to actually answer their questions offline also, so that we don't go on and on, because it's getting a little late in the day. Having said that, before I hand it over back to you, BK, I would just like to personally thank Vagish, Jawahar, and Rajiv for having consented to be here. It's been a very, very informative and useful session. Like I said, gentlemen, you can always go to them. I'm sure they'll be more than willing to help you out with your queries offline also, because these are huge questions and these have huge implications, which are very long term, which are very impactful as we move forward. Having said that, I would also like to make a point that, yes, as 41 Association of India, we have a MOU tie-up with Liberty Insurance, wherein we are given certain privileges. So anybody who is willing to, or who wants more information on Liberty Insurance, because we have a direct tie-up with them, can refer to the questions to that, or you can refer to the app where there is more information available. And we also have a medical tie-up with a couple of hospitals, the Nanavati Hospital and the other hospital is in Delhi. What is that, Pankaj? Wherein we get a lot of, pardon?
BL Kapoor, they own Nanavati.
BLK, okay. Okay, these are the two hospitals wherein maybe as 41ers you have certain privileges and also discounts on that. Having said that, yes, gentlemen, with your permission, I would like to request BK to close the meeting so that we can move on.
Babji, before yes,
Jawahar. Yes, Jawahar.
Says, I mean, I just like to take the role of a coach, that I'm also a coach. So just to help all the members who are present here, that, you know, basically need 10 skills to really tide over any situation. And I'll quickly run through the 10th, just for 2 minutes, and I'm sure you'll really appreciate and take benefit of it. And if you're able to master it, you'll be the master of the world. One is learn to speak up. Don't keep things for yourself. Speak up. Whatever is the problem, only then you'll be heard. You'll be able to solve your problems. Be honest to yourself. Lot of the people during this time don't, I can see that. Yes, Vagish. Lot of people are not honest with themselves. They try to keep themselves in, disillusion. Don't do that. You are the loser. The third is always have confidence. The fourth is listen. Listening is an amazing talent which most of us don't have. And if you are a good listener, you will be liked across. For example, the person that I always refer to is Nelson Mandela. He's the only politician who against whom nobody has a bad word to say across the world. There is not a single person who can speak against him. The fifth and important one is managing your time. I touched about this in my presentation. The sixth is stop whining. Everybody goes through shit. So don't talk about it. Nobody wants to hear your shit. Stop whining, work. The seventh is stay present in the moment. Don't think of what you were and don't think about what you are going to be. Think about how you are going to tide over what you are facing. And that is going to be the most important one. The eighth is be consistent. If you are a leader, if you are not consistent, you will not be the leader. Wherever you are there only because you are consistent. So consistency is the most important thing that you will have to strive hard to maintain. The ninth one is for you personally, get enough sleep. Unless and until you guys don't get sleep, you'll not be able to perform. And if you don't perform, don't even think of surviving. And the last and the most important one, the 10th one, is have empathy. Have empathy for everyone around you. That will help you be happy. That will keep all the people around you be happy. And consequently, it will make this world a better place to live in. Thank you very much.
Yeah, PK. Yes.
Thank you, Jawahar, for making my task easy with such a wonderful last words. So before we end this program, gentlemen, it was a great pleasure hosting the program. I thank the President, 41 Clubs of India, the International President, Lok, for being with us at such a short notice. And above all, the three speakers, Vagish Dixit from my old school, St. Lawrence, then V. Jawahar, who I know since 1992, and of course, Rajiv Swaika. He and I are great friends for a very, very long time. And I thank all the participants who came over here and made this program memorable, and all those wonderful questions they asked, and the speakers answered so patiently, and also the speakers have given so much inputs about how to live with COVID and beyond. Thank you, everybody. Good night.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you for hosting.
Appreciate it.
Thank you for hosting.
Thank you very much. Thank you,
everyone. Thank you.
Bye.